What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole. I'm a person in recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. Tonight, we are going to talk about the stigma of addiction and pregnancy. This is something that's been heavy on my heart to talk about, you guys. I've seen several videos on TikTok lately, and I really just want to talk about pregnancy and addiction. I think it's really important to talk about it, and I think a lot of women, you guys, are so afraid. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Colin. Hey, Donna. What's up, you guys? I think a lot of women are so afraid to talk about their addiction and their pregnancy, and I was one of those women who was very afraid because I was afraid of the backlash that I was going to get and the judgment that I was going to get from other people. And I'm not afraid anymore, and I'm not going to allow people's judgment to keep me from sharing my truth. So y'all come on in. Drop your sobriety dates. If you're not sober, that's okay. You are welcome here. I want everyone to understand something. We don't shame people that are using drugs still. We are not going to look down on them. If somebody is in here and they're using and they don't want to get sober, that's okay. All we're here to do is share our truth and our stories and maybe inspire somebody to make a change. There are people out there in the world, though, you guys, who don't want to get sober, and that's okay too, right? So I just want to say that because I think sometimes in the community, there can be this like air of, hey, Tim, you got to get sober. And if you don't get sober, you can't be a part of this, right? That's not what we're about here on Real Talk Recovery. Anybody is welcome here. And honestly, I want you to be here if you're still getting high. I want you to be here, and I want you to hear about what happened to me and what happened through my addiction, because maybe it will help you to understand a little bit more about addiction and how it can affect your life. So y'all come on in. I'm not going to start just yet. Jamie, I'm so glad you came by to see the channel, girl, because I was literally opened up my TikTok one day and you were saying fucked up shit that happened to me in my addiction. If you don't know, girl, I am like literally known on TikTok for crazy shit I didn't see while I was high on methamphetamine, or fucked up shit my plug used to do that would piss me off. All that shit is like my little taglines. So when I saw you make your first video, I thought, this girl is just like me. I'm the same way. And I like to get the people's attention, you know what I mean? So that way they can hear my story. Because on TikTok, it's like people are just scrolling by. And a lot of people don't understand that. They get mad. They're like, why would you make videos and say that? Because people literally have a 15-second attention span. So I need to catch them. You know what I mean? And for those of you guys that hear Jamie or me or other creators make videos and we say things at the beginning of the video to get you interested in the video, it's literally because we want you to hear our story. We want to spread a message. We want you to know that we've been there and we know what it's like. It's not because we're fake or we're phony. It's because there's so much competition that you will not be heard. It's like being in a sea of a million fishes in the sea. And if you don't do something to be noticed, you won't be noticed. So there you go. That's that. So earlier today, I saw a video on TikTok from this girl named Cassie. She has like a really big following on TikTok. And honestly, you guys, like I'm still fighting for my old account. TikTok sent me an email and I was able to dispute it. So maybe I'll be able to get my 110,000 follower account back. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to you guys, but it's a big deal to me because I worked really hard and I had so much content on that account that was so important to me, you know? Yeah, Donna, you can, but honestly, I'm not in the creator fund because whenever I did join it, they took my views away. And so it was like, you can join the creator fund, and if you're a really big creator, so let me use somebody for example, like Trashly Anonymous. Hey, Brian. Trashly Anonymous has over 1 million followers. All right. She can be in the creator fund and make good money from it because she has over 1 million followers and her videos are getting viewed like 1 million times. Okay. Somebody like me who's just getting started out, like they were taking more of the views away from me than I was getting money for it. So I opted out of it. Really, really, Kim? Excuse me, y'all. I don't know. I don't understand why. Well, they did the same thing to me. They said that my content violated community guidelines. And then they said I could appeal it if I felt like I was wrongfully terminated. And so, of course, I appealed it. Hey, Ashley, what's up, girl? Of course, I appealed it. My whole account was about helping people. You know what I mean? Like, I want you guys to hear me out. For those of you guys that are trying to build your following on TikTok, do not place all of your eggs in one basket on TikTok because it can be taken from you like this. If you want to build a following, make sure that you focus on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook because those platforms are going to be platforms that are going to be stable, and they can't just take your content off that platform like they can on TikTok. It's really discouraging how they can do that on TikTok and just take your shit. You know what I mean? So, hey, Debbie, what's up? I'm glad you're in here, girl. We're going to talk about addiction and pregnancy and the stigma behind pregnancy and addiction. And also for you guys out there, we're going to talk about what it's like to be, I have some friends that are single dads that can come up tonight and share about what it's like to be a single father because their girlfriends or wives are struggling with addiction and they, haven't gotten sober. So they had to take over. I'm going to put the link to come up and share right here in the chat. Okay. So that way you guys can come up here and what? Oh gosh, there we go. So that way anyone can come up and chat. So y'all come on in. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. It's all good in the hood over here. We have a great time. We're not judgmental. It's all inclusive recovery support. I support all pathways to recovery. If y'all didn't know, I'm on 1 milligram of Suboxone and I've been on Suboxone for like 6 years and I'm working on a Suboxone taper and you guys will be seeing me jump off in January. I'm going to film it so y'all will get to see. Hello? Yeah. What was that? Did you fall? Oh. Y'all will get to see me jump off my medication in January. So be prepared. It's gonna be something. I'm kind of a little nervous, but I think I'll be okay. I'm gonna be under a doctor's care, of course. So anyways, okay, so let's talk about it. Whenever I found out that I was pregnant, for those of you guys that don't know, I was in the throes of my active addiction. Me and my husband met in 2012. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend, and we were both addicts we both struggled with addiction, okay? And so when we met each other, it was like gasoline to the fire. Like we got together and it was like boom, like a bomb blowing up because we were both addicts and we just fed off each other like that. And so when we met, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that we were going to be husband and wife. I knew that I was going to marry Neil. I knew that I loved him more than anything in the whole wide world. I knew that I trusted him with my life. I knew that he was a good man. And he just had a problem with addiction, just like I did. I could see Neil for what he was past his addiction, So we met, we fell in love. And in 2013, I was downstairs in this house, because my mother-in-law's house, we rent from her now. And I was downstairs in the kitchen, and my father-in-law came by and he said, "Are you pregnant, Nicole?" And I looked at him all, like this. And he said, "Are you pregnant, Nicole?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Are you sure? Because you sure are glowing." And I thought, but I didn't think anything else about it, right? Well, a week went by and he asked me again. So he asked me enough times to get under my skin to where I went and got a pregnancy test. Okay. So I went and bought this pregnancy test, and I came home and I went upstairs and I took the pregnancy test, and lo and behold, it said I was pregnant right there, plain as day, honey. Said pregnant because it was one of those ones that has the words on it. When I tell you guys, my heart dropped into my stomach because I was actively shooting oxys, meth, eating Xanax bars. I was just strung out. And when I tell you guys, it wasn't like a good look. Like, it wasn't like, oh, she's not that bad. I'm fixing to show y'all pictures. I'm going to show you pictures. It wasn't like, oh, she's not that bad. It was like, I was messed up, dude. I was really, really sick and I needed help bad. So anyway, I remember talking to my husband because I was like, what are we going to do? Should we have an abortion? Is what my first words that came out of my mouth was, should we have an abortion? Because I didn't want to bring this little baby into the world that I couldn't take care of and that I wasn't wanting to take care of or get sober for, right? But I loved my husband, and I was like torn because I just wanted to do what made him happy. Well, he did not want me to have an abortion, and neither did his parents. And so I didn't want to either, deep down inside. And so we decided we were going to keep Nathaniel, right? And I'm so glad that we kept our son, you guys, and didn't have an abortion. So anyway, I struggled. I wanted to be honest and tell my doctor, but I'm telling you guys, the stigma of addiction and pregnancy, I was so afraid that they were going to take my son from me right away. I didn't tell him. I did not tell my doctor. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, I was on like WIC, I was on like Medicaid and all that stuff because I didn't have a job, right? I think I was like in between jobs. I started working at Sonic when I found out I was pregnant. And I would go to my doctor and I would go there and I would cover up my track marks. I would try to, be not high when I went into the doctor's office. But honestly, you guys, I don't know how they didn't know that I was on drugs. Honestly, just by the amount of weight that I gained, because I didn't gain a lot of weight, and just the way I looked and the way I acted. I don't know how they didn't know, but they didn't know. No one knew that I was shooting methamphetamine throughout my whole pregnancy. Hmm. Let me see them. What happened?
Well, they're so close.
Did you go outside? Okay.
We got McDonald's.
Oh, will you bring me a hamburger and some French fries? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss, little boy. I love you. This is my son, everybody. Say hi, Nate.
Hi.
Okay.
Did you get?
No, I didn't get marker on you or kisses on you. That's my boy. He's perfect in every way. But I didn't know, you guys. I didn't know. The doctor didn't know that I was under the influence, and I kind of like skated through my pregnancy without anyone knowing, which honestly, in hindsight, I wish they would have found out and knew so I could have gotten help, because I ended up not getting help, and I didn't get help until a year after my son was born. Okay. So what happened was I gave birth to Nathaniel while I was under the influence. Okay. I went into the hospital. I gave birth high on methamphetamine. I was noticeably under the influence. It was July 4th when I gave birth to my son. And somehow, some way, they didn't test me, or they didn't test my son, or they didn't catch me, you guys. I don't know how. This was in July 4th of 2014. But somehow, some way, me and my little boy left that hospital 2 days later. And I said, I will never get high again. I made a deal with God, and I said, if I can get out of this hospital without my child getting taken from me, I will never get high again. Like, I was bargaining with God, right? Well, we got out of the hospital, and I went home, and I relapsed. 90 days later, you guys, I relapsed. Hey, Neil, did you give me a hamburger? Hold on, you guys. I gotta grab something to eat. to it, y'all. I'm having me some hamburgers and fries. Okay, back to it. And listen, I want any of you guys to come up here and share tonight. You know, I love it when y'all come up here and tell me what's going on in your life and how you're feeling. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. There's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. We're all trying to better our lives, and that's all that matters. Okay? Okay. So somehow, some way, I passed and I left there. 90 days later, I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to make excuses. I will say this. I had postpartum depression, but that's still no excuse. I gave birth to my son. Hey, Erin, what's up, girl? Thanks for becoming a member. I gave birth to my son, you guys, and I went home, and 90 days went by. I breastfed him. I learned how to change his diapers. I learned all the stuff that you do when you have a baby, right? And I remember my friend Z. He was my drug dealer. Not my friend. My drug dealer Z called me, and he had some Xanax. And so I went over to his house and picked up some Xanax bars. And that took me back out. Took me all the way back out to meth, Roxy's, and everything. And I didn't get help. And I used for a whole year. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, at that time, we lived with my son, okay, with my husband's parents. And so I would leave my son with my mother and father-in-law. My husband was at work, trying to stay sober and trying to do the right thing too, because we're both in recovery. Well, they ended up, one night I had an argument with my friend Tara, and she got mad at me, and she called CPS on me. CPS came, drug tested me and my husband, and that's when they decided to take our son. When I tell you guys, have you ever been through CPS? Anybody here? It's horrible. It is nothing I wish on my worst enemy. Okay? They came and took Nathaniel, and they didn't even have anywhere for him to go. They put him in a respite home. Pissed me off. That's when I finally got sober. So what I'm trying to advocate for is women need treatment before. Oh, good. You can hold on, Jamie. I'm going to bring you up, girl. Hold on. Hey, girl, what's up?
Hey,
Tell me all about your situation. I love your videos, and I'm so glad you came up.
we got we got a we got an echo going on.
Hold on, let me lower my phone. Okay, I'm just on my phone. Do you have me on like your laptop or anything else?
I'm just on my phone.
Okay, I'll be quiet so that way you can share, okay?
What'd you say?
I said I'm going to be quiet so that way you can share.
Okay. There's so much vaccine.
Is it feeding back to you when you talk? It's feeding back to you. The only thing I know to do is, I guess, I don't know, lower your volume, because on my end I don't have any of the feedback.
Okay.
And I'll mute.
So
Okay.
pull your volume all the way down.
And I'm
Can
going
you
to
hear it
mute.
now?
I hear you fine. I'm going to mute myself, and you tell me if.
Okay, so bad. In 2009, I got pregnant with my daughter Delilah. Let me see. Let me turn this down. Okay. So I got pregnant with my daughter Delilah. I was heavily addicted to Percocet, Roxy's pain pills, and I did not want to tell the doctor that I had a pill addiction. So I had quit using everything else.
Can you guys hear her? Here, let me try. I really want to hear her. Jamie, I'm going to take you out and then add you back in. Okay, baby? Don't worry. I'm not trying to kick you out forever. I'm trying to get it to redo. Yeah, there we go. She's probably going to come back and rejoin y'all. So let's give her a second. You can come on your cell phone. So here's the thing, you guys. Like, I go through this app called StreamYards. Tonight we're talking about pregnancy and addiction, but you don't have to come up and share about that if you're not a woman. You can come up and share about anything that you've been through, you guys. You can share about your recovery. You can let us know how you're doing in your sobriety, anything like that. I'm on my phone, so I don't have anything else hooked up to my stuff, but I'll go ahead and talk until Jamie gets back. Okay. So giving birth to my son, I should have reached out and got help. I should have told them at the hospital that I needed help. But like I said, the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment and that I was afraid. I was afraid they would take Nate right away. And I had just skated through and got out of the hospital, So what I wish that there was a program, and I think there are a couple, for women when they're pregnant to reach out for help and go into treatment with their babies in their belly. Or if they don't reach out till after that, they can take their babies with them into treatment. Colin, I didn't get your text message. No, honey. Hey, Nina. Hey, Cece. Hey, Drill. What's up, girl? Welcome to the family. Eggs and chorizo. What's up? I love eggs and chorizo. What's up, Brian? What's up, Mark? Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Yeah, we're here for you, and we totally understand. We know all about MAT treatment here. We support methadone maintenance. We support Suboxone. What's going on, Colin? Tell me. Why don't you guys tell me how y'all are doing? Who wants to come up and share while we wait for Jamie? Because she's going to come up, I'm sure. When I tell you guys this girl, Jamie, I just found her on TikTok, you guys. She's a gem. She's got a good personality. She's very outgoing. I can tell I like her already. If you click that link, it'll bring you on here with me. Okay, Colin, I'm looking. And I'm sorry I'm eating. I'm hungry, y'all. So don't shame me. Don't food shame me, okay? Mark asked a question. He says, does the ER do anything for benzo withdrawals if I run out? Honestly, Mark, I don't think so. You can try and go up there and see if they'll help you with like Ativan or something like that. But you just need to be honest with them, No, Colin, you're fine. I've never heard that. I'm not sure though. Let me look it up. I think you're gonna be fine because you have to have Suboxone in your system to transition onto Sublocade. Oh, okay, Mark. Are you taking them off the street, Mark? Now, y'all know I'm not a doctor, okay? So all I can share with y'all is my personal lived experience. And we'll look it up on here, something like that. So Sublocade contains only buprenorphine. Suboxone contains both buprenorphine and naloxone. So you need to call your doctor, Colin, and ask them. Hold on. No, buprenorphine is the active ingredient. Okay, listen. You can take Suboxone while you're on the injection because we've had a couple of, Dr. B has had a couple of patients who were on the Sublocade shot, but they had a lot of anxiety about getting withdrawal. And so they would prescribe them a little bit, a couple of Suboxones too. But like I said, always talk to your doctor. You know what I'm saying? But I think you'll be okay. Oh my gosh, Mark, I've heard of those. Really, Nina? I can't do kratom, girl. I have to have a prescription, a legit prescription. Becky says, fortunately, I wasn't addicted when my daughter was born. My addiction started when I was 7. She's 19 now. But when she was 7. Hey, Ashley. No, Nina, I don't mean the capsules, girl. I mean, like, just like with everything that's going on in my life, when Nathaniel got taken away from me, I had to go through CPS. So I couldn't take kratom. I had to have a prescription from a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Or else I get in trouble. But I support you, girl. Whatever you choose to do, I'm here to support you. Honestly, I don't care how you guys get to where you're going. I'm here to support you on your journey, and I've come a long way. Like, I used to really put my opinions into stuff. I don't have an opinion on how you get there. I'm just glad that you guys are trying. Hey, what's up, ABC07? I'm on methadone and I'm struggling with my addiction. I'm 4 hours off drugs and alcohol. I don't have anyone and I'm on my own. Hey, Lisa, you're not on your own. You're here with us. Mm-hmm. It's illegal here in Arkansas too. So anyway, you guys are all welcome here. I don't care how you got there. Now let's talk about what Mark said about the benzos online. I just learned about this, you guys. There is a whole dark web where you can order research chemical benzos offline. Did y'all know that? And they're benzos, but they're a different kind of benzo. Rise Over, I do. Yes, I know CG personally. His real name is Philip. Kratom is not an opiate, so it shouldn't affect Suboxone. None of you guys are alone. I want you guys to think about something, okay? I want you guys to think about what it used to be like before there was computers, okay? Before there was computers, before there was phones, back in the day, that was alone. Okay, if you didn't have family and you lived on your own, you couldn't get a hold of anybody. Okay? None of you are alone, and every one of you can connect with somebody online. Close your eyes right now and think about what it was like in the 1920s or whatever, okay? When people were struggling with heroin addiction and they were prescribing morphine for heroin addiction or heroin cough syrup. Okay. Think about what it was like back then where you had to walk to your local little friend's house that was butchering a cow for you to have some meat. Okay. Think about that, you guys. That will put things into perspective for you. Okay. We got mad support now. We can literally get online and reach out to each other day or night. I got friends in whole other countries because of social media, you know, and so that really helps me to not feel so alone. Aaron, what are you talking about, Aaron? I'm sorry, I didn't see your first comment, baby. It says, and I'm okay with that because he isn't on pills and he has never even wanted to try another drug. That's good. Are you talking about kratom? I'm happy. Like, I'm happy for anybody that has found freedom from addiction, no matter what way you choose to go. What's that, Dave from the 80s? I'm eating. So come on up, y'all. Come talk to me. Come tell me a story. Oh, wait a second. Is that Cindy Briggs? Is that my best friend in the whole wide world? Sure did, Frankie. Thanks for asking, buddy. Come here and hang out with me, y'all. I sure did. Hey, Justin, what's up? You know what's so funny to me? People will come on here, say, oh, you switched addictions for food. This is literally the first meal I've eaten all day. I had an apple earlier. These same people don't even have a profile picture. Okay? Same people don't even have a profile picture. I'd rather be fat and happy than be a jerk on the internet throwing insults at someone I don't even know. Okay? You have to be a pretty shitty person to come on someone's page and comment that. You know what I mean? So keep it moving, honey. Anyway. I love fries and I love burgers. So I guess I'm going to be a 500-pound recovery advocate, baby. That's what makes me so mad. No one knows what your struggle is. Some people don't eat and still can't lose weight. I'd rather love food than be a jerk. Absolutely. And I'll tell you guys, like, I've struggled with eating disorders all my life. I used to be anorexic. Then I switched to starving myself. Then I switched to binge eating. Then I switched to binging and purging. And so I've always struggled with like really, really bad eating disorders. So when somebody comes on and tries to like insult me, it's like, you know, you're just adding to the stigma. You're not hurting me because, honey, I've been called fat all my life. Okay, like, we're going to take a minute to talk about this. Okay, you guys? I've been called fat all my life. All right? It's nothing new here, honey. You know what I mean? And that's the sad thing about it, is that it is nothing new here. Is that I'm so used to being called fat that it's not even a big deal to me anymore because it happens all the time. Okay? I've gotten to a place in my sobriety and as a person where being called fat no longer triggers me like it used to. I would have started crying a year and a half ago, but I just can't let stuff like that get to me, because 9 times out of 10, when someone's commenting that, they're sitting on the other end of the screen big as hell too. You know what I mean? They're literally the same. So I don't let it get to me like I used to let it get to me, but it used to really, really make me sad, and I would be so, so hurt. And I want you guys to know, if you're here and you struggle with eating, you starving yourself, you're binging and purging, you're binge eating like I used to do, I know how you feel, and I know the struggle. I know the struggle. I know how it feels to need to eat food, but withhold it from yourself because you are ashamed to eat in front of people, because you're afraid if they see you eat, then they're going to think you're fat and you're lazy. That's why I eat in front of people. I'm going to eat on my live stream. If I'm hungry and I haven't eaten all day and it's time to eat, I'm going to get me a burger and some fries and I'm going to eat it, because I'm no longer ashamed to eat. And I don't have to be. And neither do any of you guys. I will take you through this journey with me, and you can go and you can watch me get bullied, and you can watch me get harassed and attacked, and I'll stand tall. So, you're a beautiful person, Nicole. It's so easy for others to judge. We are our own worst critic. I can promise anything you say about me, I've already thought it myself. Absolutely. And I am harder on myself than anybody ever could be. And that's the thing, you guys. It's like, I've been there. I've done that. I've been, made fun of. It's all good. So what I'm trying to get away from, you guys, and what I was trying to advocate for when I came on this live stream tonight was, addiction and pregnancy, and women who are pregnant and so afraid to get help because they're afraid their child will get ripped out of their arms. Today, one of my girls called me that I helped a couple of months ago. And she came in and she said, she called me and she said, "Hey girl, I need help getting on Suboxone, and I need help because I'm pregnant. Hey, Brittany." And I was like, okay. So I helped her get signed up for telehealth services, right? I do. I have a single sister. I would love to hook you up with her. She's gorgeous. I have, sorry, you caught me off guard there. She called me because she needed help, you guys, getting signed up for Suboxone. So I helped her get signed up for Suboxone. And do you know that because of the shame, because of her being afraid, it was too late. It was too late, and she got on MAT and her baby died. She was 8 months pregnant and her baby died. And so she is a beautiful young lady. She's sober now. She's on her MAT now. But this is what happens because women are afraid to get help because of the guilt, because of the shame, because of the stigma that is placed on women who struggle with addiction. Do you know how many other people in recovery had said to me, "Nicole, I can't believe you did that while you were pregnant." And these are other addicts and alcoholics. I am harder on myself than believe. These are other addicts and alcoholics, you guys, who say these things to me. And it hurts. It hurts because those are people that I thought understood the disease of addiction. A lot of people don't understand the disease of addiction. Even though they're sober, even though they were addicts, they don't understand the disease. They don't understand the obsession of the mind. They don't understand the using even when you don't want to. How many of you guys have used against your own will? How many of you guys have gotten so strung out and so bad, and you were so desperate that even though you wanted to be sober, you still used? Nicole, you're one of my favorites and have been since day one. You have no idea. Even with almost 15 years in recovery without relapse myself, you inspired me, and I've learned so much from you. Thank you so much, Erin. You have no idea how much that means to me, for real. Because of CPS being called, I'm so angry about the whole situation that surrounds this topic. It makes me sad. I know, Christian, it's horrible. If you want to come up and share, you guys, here is the link to come up and share. And anybody's welcome. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, okay? Like, I don't believe that a woman who is sick with a disease of addiction should be punished. Okay. I think it's messed up that the first reaction is to call CPS on a woman. I think that what we should do is we should get them help, and we should get them into rehab. We should get them into not even rehab. We should get them into a long-term treatment facility where they can get treatment for themselves and learn how to be a sober mom. You know, if I knew that there was an option for me to get treatment while I was pregnant without being judged and having CPS called on me, I think I would have done it. I really, really do. You know, I can't change the past, but I can tell you guys that I wish that I had known about options. And so that's why I want to help other people. That's why I want to help other women. I want other women to know that there are options out there and that they're not alone, that they don't have to fight the disease of addiction by themselves, that they're not a piece of shit, that they're not a bad person. They're sick. They're sick and they need help. Okay? If we say, you know, if everybody's, when we were in our addiction, we were sick. It's not the person we are. It is the drugs, right? It's the same thing goes for pregnant people. People think that just because you get pregnant, that all of a sudden your addiction is supposed to magically go away. And they hold women who are pregnant to like some kind of higher standard. And it's like, no, addicted drug addict woman pregnant is the same as a woman that's not pregnant. Like, we still have the same disease, you know? And shunning that person and judging that person and stigmatizing that person and putting that person in to jail or taking that person's kid away or making them go through child protective services, dude, that's the worst, man. It's the worst experience you will ever have in your whole entire life. And I truly believe, if you guys want to talk about trafficking humans, talk to CPS. You know, Ashley, I was just about to ask this question. Why is CPS still called on women who are in MAT treatment and some kids still get taken? Honestly, you guys, I do not know. I do not know. If a woman is actively in treatment on her medication-assisted treatment, then I don't believe that Child Protective Services should be called at all. As long as that woman has a legitimate doctor prescribing her that medication that can vouch for her, they shouldn't have to come. That's a waste of resources. That's a woman who's already in recovery and already sober. When I went through the Child Protective Services case with my son, they tried to say that we couldn't be on Suboxone. And we fought that shit. We fought that shit and we won. Because I'm telling you guys right now, I was able to put my life and get my life back together. And if I have to be on Suboxone for the rest of my life, I will do it. So that way I can be the best mom I know how to be. You know, I don't know why they do that. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. Ashley says, both of mine got taken away while I was in treatment. Hey, Ashley, do you want to come up here and share? I would love for you to share that. Share with us what happened. You don't have to show your face. You can shut the camera off, okay? I agree. They shouldn't be called at all. It makes people afraid to be on MAT or waiting for that doom to come when the baby is born. Absolutely. And that's why, Christian, in a lot of states, they don't even consider being on MAT recovery. It's that way here in Arkansas. Okay, Arkansas will say that they support multiple pathways to recovery, but they won't, because they won't allow people on MAT to be peer support specialists. They won't allow people on MAT to be nurses. Like, you literally are discriminated against if you're taking MAT. Come on up, girl. I put the link in the chat. Here, I'll put it in there again. Oh, here you are. Hey, girl. Hi. Tell us about what happened. I want to know all about it.
Okay. So, okay. Sorry, I was just sitting down. There's an echo again. Why is there always an echo when people are on this side?
No, it's not on me. I had taken my volume down. I got my mic muted. Let me see the settings. Hold on. Audio,
Let me
echo cancellation on.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Oh, now it sounds like shit. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know why it's like that.
Is it echoing on your end?
And you're like, it's like repeating.
Huh.
It's like repeating. That's so. Let me call back in.
Okay. All right.
I'll call her back in.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, it sucks, man. It shouldn't be. You think it is? I'll shut my laptop off because I don't have it on, you guys. But I just shut it off. Addiction is extremely stigmatized here too, and Ashley, you guys, I cannot wait for her to come on and share this story with you guys because she has got a story, man. Like, they really did her dirty. And this is what I truly believe. I truly believe that sometimes child protective services, they feel entitled, okay? They feel entitled and they feel like that they're the boss, right? And so a lot of women, we cower down to them because we're afraid. We cower down to them and we do whatever they say they want us to do. What I'm going to tell you guys right now is if you're ever pregnant and you're having a baby and you're on MAT and they're trying to come, CPS is trying to come get in your life, get a lawyer absolutely right away. Do not talk to them unless you have a lawyer. Do not mess with them at all because I'm telling you right now, they will use it all against you. Okay. Hello? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I switched to my computer. The cam for some reason. Here. No, hold on. I think you're on this one.
That's okay.
There we go. Okay. Hi.
Hey, girl.
I switched to my computer. I don't know what, but I think it's when we call in on our cell phones, that's when people are hearing the echo, and I don't know why. But
okay.
Anyway, yeah. So okay, I got sober in 2017. I was in the street using, prostituting, until I was 6 months pregnant. And then I got clean. I went to my OB and I was like, I'm sick. Like, I went in there one day, sick as hell. And I was like, I'm sick. Like, I'm shooting up. I need help. And they were like, go to the methadone clinic. And I was like, what's that? I had never even touched methadone before this. I was strictly heroin, right? And they were like, go to the methadone clinic. And I was like, how? And they were like, just go. And I was like, I don't want to get in trouble. They're like, you're not going to get in trouble. And I was like, well, I'm dirty. Like, I'm going to test positive. They're like, yeah, that's why you're going to the clinic. Like, my OB did not care. They were so supportive. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, and my OB was in St. Augustine. It's so prevalent. Like, they would have been shocked if I wasn't using opiates. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so prevalent here. So they get me set up with the methadone clinic, and I'm seeing my doctor. I was high risk. So I was seeing her every 2 weeks, and I didn't see her until I was 6 months pregnant. Like, I was really horrible in this pregnancy. And so I was going every 2 weeks because I was already so bad. And so I was so sick this entire pregnancy. I detoxed off myself at around 4 months, and I lasted about 4 weeks on Subutex. And it just got to the point I was too sick. Even the Subutex was not helping me. So I go to the clinic, and everything was fine at first. My counselor was like, they only had one counselor for pregnant women. And she dealt with CPS and DCF, and she dealt with the legal stuff. And she was like, listen what I'm about to say. At the time, she had been a counselor for 28 years. And at this one clinic alone, she was a counselor for over 16 years. She had never ever had a woman who was sober testing negative ever get CPS called on her. She's never had that. Now, she's had pregnant women who pop positive get CPS called, for
Yeah.
other than methadone or the Suboxone. She's never, because I asked her, I was like, what if I get, I'm going to test positive for methadone. She was like, yeah, it's a prescription. And I was like, okay, cool. So we got everything set up. I'm doing really good in my recovery and he was born on his due date, November 19th. Okay. And we had everything set up. I had all my paperwork set up at the clinic. We signed the medical release forms. I had everything set. She called CPS here because I gave birth in a separate county. So she called the county I gave birth in. She called our county. She literally let these people know when she gives birth, because here in my state, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but they test the infant's poop, the infant's urine, blood tests, and they test my urine and my blood. Like when women give birth, they test us all of it, right? And she called CPS in both counties, and she was like, they will both test for methadone. She used in the beginning, and she's been clean. Even my very first drug test there, the only thing I popped for was buprenorphine. I was already clean of heroin at that point, So we thought we were all good. We thought we were all good because CPS was like, as long as it's a prescription, when it gets called in from the labor and delivery, she'll be fine. I go give birth, whatever, right? It's a good birth. He's healthy. He did go into withdrawals 8 hours after. He was seizing. He was bad. He was in the NICU for 9.5 weeks. He was one of the rare, really bad withdrawals. Like, it doesn't, how bad he was, it doesn't happen. Like, it's very rare how sick he was. And I know it's because I wasn't stable on my dose. I didn't get a chance to get stable before I gave birth.
Right.
So other than that, though, it was fine. Okay. I give birth and they come in, and about 8 hours after I give birth, he starts showing signs of withdrawal. He was born at 4 p.m. Around 1 a.m. he started showing signs. And we waited as long as we could. The longest we could go was 6 hours after that. And they're like, he has to go downstairs. He has to go to the NICU. We can't, he's too bad. Like, he was already tremoring. He wasn't eating. He wasn't nothing. It was so bad. He had the cry, the scream. That poor kid, he was so sick, and I felt so bad. And then I had my 6-year-old at home who was because the hospital was an hour away. It was just bad, right? So the nurse comes in, okay, after we're preparing to get him sent to the NICU, which was a floor below labor and delivery. And she comes in, and she's just asking me about my addiction. And she was nice about it. And she was like, so you're on methadone? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, so did you use, like, how long have you been an addict? And I told her, and she was like, so have you used heroin? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, when's the last time you used? And I was like, about 3.5 months ago. And she was like, oh, you were pregnant. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, but you got into treatment. And I was like, yeah. She was like, well, I'm going to have to tell CPS. I'm like, yeah, they already know. I didn't understand what she was trying to tell me. And I was like, yeah, sure. And maybe 6 hours after that, my mom, this is the day after I gave birth, okay? My mom comes in the room with my daughter to meet me and her little brother for the first time. He is just about to be transferred to the NICU. Like, he's in the process. Like, within 15 minutes, he's being transferred. And I'm sitting there on the bed. It was so bad the way it happened. And I have this woman, I've never seen her walk in my room. And she's holding a stack of paper, okay? And she was like, are you Ashley? La da da da. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I need to talk to you. You may want to get your kids out of the room. I was like, no, what? I didn't understand what the hell was about to happen. She's like, no, you really need to be alone. And I was like, no, I don't. I just gave birth. I'm not going to be without my kids. So she sits down in front of me, and my mom is right next to me. My daughter's right in front of me, and my son is in the little bassinet that they're about to wheel down to the NICU. And she was like, so I hear you're on heroin. And I was like, I'm on it? No. And she was like, well, you did it when you were pregnant. And I was like, yeah, I'm in treatment now. And she was like, well, we were told that you're doing heroin now, and you can't be around your kids. That's exactly what she said to me. She's like, you can't be around your kids. And I was like, be around my kids, the one I just gave birth to? Yeah, right. I was like, you can suck my dick. I'm not going to be away from my kids. That's exactly what I said to her. And my mom was like, hold on. And I was like, no, hold on. And mom was like, no, hold on. And then my mom looks at her and she's like, what are you talking about? She can't be near her kids. And this lady, she was adamant that I was on heroin. She was like, well, she's on heroin. And we're like, no, I'm on methadone. And she was like, okay, so you're using your methadone. She was saying it like, so you're on, like you're using a methadone. You're abusing your methadone. I was like, no, I take it once a day in the morning. I get 5 take-homes. At the time, I had worked my way up to 5 take-homes. And because pregnant women, they could get more take-homes faster because we were pregnant. They didn't want us to get out of bed that early in the morning if we didn't have to, right? And I was like, I never abuse them. You can count my boxes right now. I still have 3 left for this week, and I'm here in the hospital. I'm not asking them for I'm not abusing anything. And she's like, no, you're using methadone. Someone called in to say you were on heroin. And she was like, you can't be around your kids. I cannot leave this hospital with you with your kids. And I was like, I literally just sat there looking at her, and I was like, okay. All the while this is going on, they're taking my son to go to the NICU, and I flip out because in my mind, like I literally snapped because she's saying you can't be with your kids, and they're like wheeling him away from me, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't trust y'all. I don't fucking trust y'all. Y'all are gonna take my baby, and y'all are gonna kill him. Like I don't trust y'all because he couldn't leave. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they were going to murder him. I thought they were going to release him to the state and take him out of the hospital. And I was like, y'all are going to kill my kid. No. You're not taking him out of my sight. And they're like, ma'am, we're just taking him to the NICU. And I was like, no. You're not taking him away from me. And they're like, no, ma'am, we have to. He is too sick to be up here. And I was like, no, you are not taking my kids away from me. Like I am flipping out, dude. And my mom is like, she pulls the nurse outside. And my mom tells them, they're like, she suffers from severe postpartum psychosis. She will snap and she will hurt everyone around her. And I do, and I black out. And that's a whole nother level to this, right? That alone is a whole nother level, right? Then you add the addiction, then you add the trauma, right? Right. So the nurses are like, okay, now we know how to handle her. Like this is more than just her being angry, you know? So they set it up. I forget, they helped me, you know, they let me sit with him. The CPS worker was adamant on taking both my kids out the room at that time. And the nurse pretty much looked at her and she was like, that's not going to happen because she just gave birth, not even a full 24 hours ago. She's not willing to part with her kids at this moment until you leave the hospital. So it's just not going to happen. So you're not going to leave this hospital with her away from her kids because we're not going to allow it as the nurse. The nurse staff had my back, right? They were like, we're not going to allow her to separate from her son because that's not healthy for either of them at this moment in time.
Right.
So he was able to stay in the room with me. They were like, we'll give you like another hour, but we have to take him down. And I knew that it was for his best, but I literally didn't trust them. I was like, y'all are going to take my son and take him out this
And
hospital.
this is because you were on your prescription methadone.
Yes, I swear to God, you can literally talk to my parents. My mom was in utter shock. Okay. So we're sitting there and by this point, when they're like, okay, we'll give you another hour, I'm shaking. And like, I haven't started crying yet at this point. So my mom was like, okay, you got him here. We got Michaela here, my daughter. Let's sit on the bed and figure out where to go from here, because we need to figure out what tomorrow brings.
Right.
What's going to happen with the kids, right? So I sit down on the bed, and this lady is like, okay, where do you live? Meaning, where do I live? I was like, I live at home with my mom. And the CPS worker was like, where is that at? And my mom's like, well, we own our own home. It's a safe environment. It's clean. We don't do anything, which they don't. She was like, we don't even drink. There's not even alcohol in the house, like, which they don't. They never have, right? And she was like, we're going to have to check the house. But she can't be with her kids. And my mom was like, so what are you saying? She can't be. What are you telling me right now? Like, what's going to happen when she's released from this hospital? And she was like, she can't be with her kids. That's all she kept saying. And my mom was like, what does that mean? What are you telling me? Like, explain yourself.
They were saying you can't be even in the same house as them. Isn't
Yep.
that fucked up? And you were prescribed that medication.
Yep.
And so basically they're taking a baby from a mother who has seeked treatment, has gotten in her treatment, and is taking care of her children. They're wasting their time and their resources on a woman who is enrolled in treatment.
Yep.
This is what I'm talking about, Child Protective Services, dude. They are so backwards. So backwards.
It was so my mom is like, because they wanted to take my kids. And my mom was like, hell no. My mom, I said, like, I will leave the house before you take my kids out of that house. You
Right.
are not taking my kids. Like, I straight looked at that woman. I said, you might as well take my ass to jail, because I will kidnap my own kids. You're not taking my kids into state custody.
Right.
So you can arrest me or leave them with my parents. That's all there is to it. She just looked
You're
at me.
so lucky, because they wouldn't let us keep Nate with my mother and father.
I know. And I was so upset when I learned that from you, because I was like, what? You know,
Right.
I'm like, that is so messed up. So I told her, though, I was like, either arrest me now, because I'm going to take my kids and run out this hospital if you try and take them out of my parents' home, or they can go back to the home and I'll figure out my shit. So
Right.
she was like, okay, so you just can't go back to the house. And I literally start bawling. I'm like, and I looked at my mom and I was like, why the fuck did I just go into treatment and work my ass off the past 4 months to even get sober? Why did I even do this? Why? So time passes, that day passes, okay?
Right.
It's transferred to our county. Luckily, the first 7 days, I could stay in the hospital because of the withdrawal from my son. They allowed me to stay 7 nights and 8 days with him. So I wasn't even going home for another 7 days, right? They transferred it from that county to our county. And thank God, this county where I'm at now, like my home county, they're just so much better with it.
Right.
So 2 days after this, okay, we get a CPS worker, a whole different one, go to my parents' house. They knock on the door, and I'm not there yet. You know, I'm going home. The first 3 days, I could sleep in a bed at the hospital, okay? And then after the first 3 days, I could be there 15 hours a day and just physically leave the room for 6 hours while they cleaned it up and did shift change and paperwork and all that stuff. And that's what I did. I was there 15 hours a day. Drove an hour home, stayed at night with my daughter, woke up, took her to school by 8 a.m. And then I went back there to the hospital, drove a whole hour, stayed there for 15 hours. And that's what I did every single night for 9 weeks.
Wow.
And luckily, 2 days after this happened, River, hey.
I hear him back there squawking.
He's crazy, okay? Luckily, 2 days after this, a CPS worker from my county went to the home, and she knocked on the door, okay? And she asked my dad for a drug test, and my dad, being a pompous asshole, was like, no. And I was like, Dad, you can't say that, dude. You're going to get my kids taken. And he was like, no. They can get a warrant. They can know. I'm not making it easy for them. And I was like, you're making it hard for me, though.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, this CPS worker was so understanding. She was like, I get it. She was like, I'm in your home. I'm on your territory. I get it. Literally, that's what she said. She was like, I get it. You're not
Right.
getting it. You're pissing your home. I get it. She literally walked in the home, okay, called me on the phone. It was like, is this Ashley? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you live at such and such? I said, yeah. She was like, have you lived here this entire time? And I was like, yeah. She was like, she literally said, why am I here?
Why am I here?
And I said,
Why
I
am I
don't
here?
know. I said,
Because
apparently I'm
some
on
punk
heroin.
ass nurse was fucking prejudiced against you being on MAT.
Yep.
That's exactly what
Yep.
it was.
She literally was like, why am I here? I was like, because apparently I'm on heroin. She was like, I see your clean drug tests. I was like, yeah. She was like,
Hold on, let me say one thing. No cap, I don't think you understand that there are a lot of pretty shitty people that are mandated reporters
yeah,
that report shit that she was on methadone in treatment. There's no reason why CPS should have been called on her at all. And
No
what happened
reason.
was there was a nurse who was probably didn't agree with MAT treatment, and so she's the one who put in an order, a report on you.
Yep. So
You know,
when she was like, why am I here? And she was like, legally, you can't. And then so she switched it. She was like, you can't walk in your house. I was like, no, I'm not allowed to be there. She was like, no, no, no. She was like, no. So she switched it. I still couldn't be alone with them and I couldn't drive with them, but I could go back to the house. I know. So I could go back to the house with someone over the age of 21 with me. But I just couldn't be alone with my kids.
River! Get that little chicken
Second,
in.
please.
Is he mad? He can come to say hi to everybody.
He's crazy, but so they switched it. So I could at least go home at night, right? I couldn't drive her to school. I couldn't be alone with them. And this went on for 12 weeks. And it was hard.
That should have never happened.
It was hard. And the entire 12 weeks, he came home at 9 weeks. And they said, let's wait 2.5 weeks after and we'll do a random check-in. Luckily, it was the same CPS worker. And you know what else they said to do? They said I could not be alone with my son in the NICU. They said I couldn't. There would have to be a nurse the entire time with me. Don't you know these NICU nurses, they didn't listen to that shit. They did not listen to that shit one bit.
Good.
Because I went to go check on that NICU 3 times, did pop-ins to make sure they were safe. And they knew me by the time I gave birth. When they looked at that paperwork and they looked at me, they were like, what did you do? And I was like, I'm on methadone. And now they're accusing me of being on heroin and abusing my methadone. They're like, literally, they're like, aren't you the one that came to make sure we were safe? And I was like, yeah. They're like, you came 3 times. Like this one nurse was like, I remember her. Like she vouched for me. She was like, she came here to make sure we were safe. There's no way she's hurting her kids.
And do you see what I'm saying? So there's some people in the comment section, and one person that's kind of like saying CPS doesn't come for no reason. No, actually they do.
Yes,
and a lot of the time, anybody, any Tom, Dick, or Harry could call and say, Nicole's beating her kid, and they will come here to my house and knock on my door. It is so bad, it is ridiculous. So you're actually really wrong. And they do
really did nothing wrong.
They do this to you, and they traumatize you. They traumatize you.
Let me tell you something. My daughter, they came to the house. They stripped her down to her underwear to check her for bruises. She was so fucking scared because she knows she's not allowed to get naked in front of people, and she ain't allowed to have nobody touch her except for me and Mama. Nobody's allowed to touch her. She knows this. And when they checked her, they took her in the other room and shut the door. Don't you know she would not get undressed for nobody until I was in the room? And I said, does that sound like a girl who's abused to you? She will only get naked in front of me, but I abuse her, right? I'm doing something wrong to her, but she won't let you touch her. What does that say? She's reading your vibes. There's something about you she don't like, but I'm doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they traumatized her. Like they asked her, they were like, does anyone do anything bad to you? And I'll never forget, because I teach her everything, right? They're like, does anyone touch you where they shouldn't? And she was like, in my vagina. And they're like, no, does anyone touch your vagina? She was like, no, except for Mommy when she's checking me. And they took that. They were like, well, when does she check you? And she
When you
literally,
to see if you had an accident, to see if you wiped your my son. For a while there, he would say, "I wiped my butt," and then I would find chocolate in his underwear. You know what I'm saying? Skin marks. So there was a time where I had to check and make sure that he was fully wiping himself.
like every parent does.
Yes.
And they took that. They were like, "Why does she check you?" And she was like, "Because I asked her to, because it burns." Like this, that's what she did. She looked and she looked and she was like, "Because it burns." And then she literally ran out the room when they were done. She was like, "Mommy, why did I have to tell her about my vagina burning?" I was like, "I don't know, but did you tell them everything?" She was like, "Yeah, I told them that my vagina burns." And I was like, "Yeah, like I don't, it might be TMI, but I'm like, that's the shit they do. They traumatize people, dude." My mom was terrified I was going to go into another postpartum psychosis episode because let me tell you, I get horrible postpartum psychosis. The first year of my daughter's life, I don't remember. I literally don't remember because I was in a psychosis for 10 months straight. I don't remember. She was so scared. She would not leave me alone. She was calling me when I was at the hospital. I had to have my GPS on. She would not let me leave the house unless I had GPS, and she was calling me every hour. She was so scared that I would do something really bad to myself because of this entire, and she told the nurses in the hospital, they were like, "Let me tell you something. If something happens to her and she's on your watch, I'm suing everybody." Like she was like, she has severe postpartum psychosis. And if she does anything to hurt herself, I will come after all of you. And the nurses, they were checking me every 30 minutes, the entire 7 days I was there, because they knew, like, my mom, she was so scared. Like, she was terrified that I was going to fall off, and I didn't. Thank God I didn't.
I know. That's awesome. You stayed sober. You stayed on the right track.
It was so bad. Like,
but it's stressful. You know, I don't think people can understand unless you've been in the situation. You cannot understand what it's like to have somebody having power over your life. You know, like when Nathaniel got taken away from me, it was because I was on drugs and I tested positive for drugs, and I totally understand. What I'm saying is, because I didn't know the law and I didn't know my rights, I welcomed them into my home, and I shouldn't have.
You should not have.
I shouldn't have allowed them in my home. I should have called a lawyer right away, and all that. Okay, is what I'm saying. And a lot of times they operate under the guise that they know that we don't know the law and we don't know our rights, and we think we have to let them in.
No, you don't. Unless it's a signed warrant. No, you don't.
And they prey on people like that. And when Nate got taken away, he got taken away by one worker, and then she quit her job 3 days later. It's like, what? You know? So then we got assigned. It's like she quit her job. Like, what? How do we know she wasn't just wanting to go out with a bang?
Exactly. You know, I was just thinking in my head, she wanted to get that quota. That's what she wanted to do.
They came to our house and they said, you know, we're not going to take Nathaniel. We're going to allow Nicole to go to treatment, and we're going to put an order of protection in. Nicole will go to treatment. Neil will work full time, and the mother and father-in-law can take care of Nathaniel, right? And so that was the plan. Then they come back the next day and they're like, never mind, we're taking him.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would they change? So they would leave him one more night and then wake up the next morning and say, no, we don't trust you enough. Well, then why did you leave him?
Right.
You know, if y'all are such bad parents, why did they even leave him?
Go down the stairs and hit that speed.
Oh, no. Let me see your tooth. It's literally about to come out. Can I pull it? Okay.
That just doesn't make any sense to me. And don't you know, my counselor is the one who got it closed because she went to court. This went to court. Like, it went all the way to court. She vouched for me. She was like, if I've ever had a client work as hard as someone, she literally is like, I've never had a client work as hard as she has to get in recovery and make sure her kids are safe. Like, it was insane to me. Like, I could not
Yeah,
believe it. I
you
could
got
not believe it.
railroaded. Your children, that should have never happened to you with you being in treatment on your medication that was prescribed with your OBGYN and your doctor letting them
Yes.
know. Like, that should have never happened to you. Do you
My
see what I'm
OB
saying, guys?
was
Like,
like,
you should have never had a case opened on you.
never. Never. And literally, I knew once that the Duval, like my county, when she called me, she's like, why am I here? What happened? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm not allowed to be, I can't walk into my own home. And that's when she's like, no, 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 no. You can come home. You just can't be alone with your kids now. And I was like, that's better than nothing. But I'm like, that's still bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
that's real shit, dude. It was god awful. It was so bad. And all the while, I'm sitting here dealing with my son having seizures with an NG tube, with a tube in his chest. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I know how traumatizing it is to have Child Protective Services in your life. It is traumatizing. Like, I still to this day am traumatized. Like, if anybody, because I get a lot of hate online, and people will try to say things like, "Oh, we're gonna call," da, da, da. And I'm like, you don't play like that. You do not play like that.
So
like,
when people say CPS doesn't traffic kids, yes, the fuck they do. Maybe not in your city, maybe not with your experience. Yes, they do, because they get paid per head. The government, where they're staying, but in those little state-run facilities, if you will, they get paid per head in there. Per every dollar spent on each child, they get like what, 50 cents, 70 cents, 60 cents? Yes. That is called human trafficking. When you move people from one place to another for money. This is why I'm going for my human services degree, and I'm going to be a social worker, and I'm going to be that one who is working for pregnant addicts. That's what I'm doing. I'm making that change. So when people try and come to me and say, you don't know what you're talking about, what are you doing to make a change? All right, bitch, let me tell you something. Because I'm one class away from getting my degree. And as soon as I get that degree, I'm working exactly where I want to help women. Because I'm going to be there telling them the rules. You better not let them in your home. You better call me.
Right.
You better not call these people. You better call me, and I will get you a lawyer. That's what I
want to do social work too. Because I was talking, I don't know if y'all remember Tracy Helton? I had her on my channel. She was on the show Black Tar Heroin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's telling me, you need to go back to college. You need to go back to college. And I was like, what can I do? I want to go back to college for social work or something in criminal, whatever it is, and help people that are on probation and parole, or help people that have their children taken away.
That would be good. I want to do, because I'm getting my human services degree, and then I'm also going to get my psychology degree. And I'm specifically going to work with addicts, but pregnant addicts and parent addicts. Because in my opinion, a parent who's an addict needs the most help, because they're the ones teaching the next generation. Kids are only going to do what they see. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not helping the cause of the problem, you can't help the generations after when all they see is addiction and pain and trauma. You need to heal it where it starts, and I can't wait to graduate. I cannot wait to graduate and be doing this shit, because let me tell you something. Y'all are going to hear my name.
I know, right?
I'm not going to stop. No, I will not stop. And I don't care. People, it's not worth the money. For me, it is, because I've been there. It's not about the money. It's about empowering these women who let CPS in their home, and they don't know that they don't have to. They don't know that shit. And their kids are taken away fighting 3, 4, 5 years for what? Why are you in a sober house for 2 years sober? Why? Why don't you have your kids and you're in government funding housing and they're helping you? Why are you in a sober house paying your way? But yet they say, oh, you also need to support your kid, but you can't do both. Anyway, that's a whole different subject for me. So.
I know. I feel the same way. I feel the same way about it too. It makes me so sad. And I think a lot of the times people use the excuse and they say, well, Child Protective Services is so understaffed. Here's the thing, you guys, like, that's not an excuse for just going and removing people's children.
Nope.
For like that, like, seriously, that nurse didn't like that you were on methadone, and she reported you to the state. You know, and there are nurses like that who don't support MAT treatment. There's a lot of people who are like that who don't support MAT treatment.
I was a part of it. Like, I am proof. I did not see it. When I tell you I did not see it coming, when this CPS worker walked in and when she sat down and said, "So you're on heroin," my jaw, and my mom, she was like, "What?" And like, it was just like, I was not expecting it. I did not think it was coming. If I would have had warning that it was coming, like, just so you know, someone called it, like, no, I did not know it was coming. Like, I had no clue. And it was just like, I flipped out because I literally did not trust anybody with my kid. I was like, no. And then the really cool part though, is there was a camera system set up. So when I went home at night, there was a camera in his room of the NICU, because it was at Flagler Hospital in St. Augustine, and they're rich. They have money. That's a good hospital, right? And it was like top of the line NICU, and there were cameras in the room and directly over his bed. I could download the app on my phone and watch him, and that's what I did. And if he was out of his bed for more than like 15 minutes, I would call up there all hours, and I was like, "Where's my baby?" And they were like, "Oh, well, because he loved being worn," and that's what they wear them at the NICU. Like, NICU nurses, they were awesome, dude. They wore him all the time, and they're like, "Oh, we're wearing him." I'm like, "I need you to step in front of the camera for me." And they were like, "Can you give me a few minutes?" I'm like, "Yes, but I need you to step in front of the camera so I can see him." They were like, "Okay." They understood me. They understood, you know.
I totally understand what you're going through. See, it's crazy to me that that happened to you, and then I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I was under the influence giving birth, and nobody was the wiser.
That's so crazy to me.
Like, I'm telling you, like, it was unbelievable. And I truly believe it was July 4th. It was the weekend. It was the holiday.
True.
I think somebody dropped the ball.
They had to have.
And I slipped through the cracks somehow, because I'm telling you, Neil. Yeah, Neil, he still remembers that. They gave me fentanyl in my IV, in my epidural, and there was a big bag of liquid fentanyl on the little thing right there. And my husband, he remembers. He's like, "I could have taken that," and I remember him looking at it, looking at me, and I said, "We will die if you take that. Like, do not touch it." But like, I was higher than Cooter Brown giving birth, and nobody said anything. Nobody said anything about it. And I left the hospital 2 days later. So like, in my situation, like, I was not doing right. You know, like, I understand why I got my son taken away a year later when my friend called.
Gotten taken though. I don't wish that on any. My worst enemy, I would never wish that on.
No. And I honestly think there's better options than listen, I don't think somebody's kid should get taken because they're sick with the disease of addiction. No. I understand if you're beating your kid, you're molesting your kid, you're burning your kid with cigarettes, you're putting them in little boxes. Like, that's child abuse. But when you're sick with the disease of addiction, I think that you should be given help, not have your kids just taken away from you. Like, I understand some people aren't ready to get sober, and if you offer them the option to get help and they don't, then I understand.
That's different. That's different though. I still don't believe, if you offer and they say no, I still don't believe you should take the kids, especially if they have in-laws to go to. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
if they have other family to go to. But that's just me. I know other people they think different. I
think they should always go to family.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right away.
Thankfully, I'm just so glad that the social worker that I had in my county, who was, because she was younger. The first social worker was an old ass woman. Like, she was literally old as fuck, dude. She had to be 60 something years old. Had to be. Okay. This new woman, she was my age. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was young. At the time I was 26. She was my age. She had to be like 24, 25. You know what I'm saying? So I think her mindset was, because she grew up with this. You know, she grew up with all of her friends. She said they were either dead from an overdose or in jail. So she saw it in a different way than older people did, you know?
Yeah.
So she was more wanting to help, you know? And she told me, she was like, "If I take your kids from you, what are you going to do?" And I told her, I was like, I'm not coming home tonight. And she was like, okay, then why would I take them from you?
It makes it worse for a lot of women. You know what I
I
mean?
will tell you right now, if that last social worker said you cannot be with your kids at all, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, you probably would have gotten high and overdosed and died.
Yeah, I would not. I literally would be dead.
Because that's what they don't understand. That's our coping skill.
Yep.
So when you know, it's like we are going to use drugs to cope because we haven't learned any other way to cope yet. You know?
And if all I had left was my kids, you take them. Like, I'm a single mom. I have nobody except for my parents to sit. You take my kids, what do I have left? I don't love myself enough to live for myself. And that I'm working on that. You know, because I should be enough for myself. And I'm aware of that. But as of right now, I haven't made that level in my recovery that I'm enough to survive. I'm not. And I can admit that. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. You know
I used to be just like you, girl.
Exactly.
I used to be just like that.
You
I
get
used
it.
to not. I loved my son enough to get sober, but I didn't love me enough to get sober. So I used my son as motivation
Yep.
to stay clean. And at the years that went by, as I used Nathaniel for motivation, then I started realizing like, I like me.
Yep.
I love my personality. I love my will to help others. I love everything about me, really. The only thing I would change is my weight. Like, I want to lose weight. But that is something that's physical. Like, I can change that.
Yep.
You can't change being an ugly, nasty, miserable person, you know, but you can change your outsides. You can't change your insides.
Yep. And I recognize that. So I'm working on that now. But back then it was even worse. Like, I did not want to live without my kids.
Yeah.
And I told her that. Like, when she asked and she knew the answer. That's why she asked me. So it clicked in my mind because she was like, you need to work on that. She was like, if your kids get taken, your first thought shouldn't be go kill yourself. And I was like, you're right. She was like, that should not be your first thought. Your first thought should be, let me better myself to get them. And I just wasn't there yet. But she knew it, but she knew I wasn't hurting them.
Yeah.
And I thank God, because if it were any other circumstance, it would have been awful. And so when people tell me CPS don't come for no reason, yes, the fuck they do. Because they do with me. They did with me. And I had to fight like hell. I had to have my own counselor vouch for me in court. It went up to court, okay? It went up to a judge's ruling. And she was like, I've never seen somebody fight as hard in such little time to get sober. In 4 months. Like, I went to all classes every single day. Every class they offered at the methadone clinic, I went. I was there.
Girl, that's what I did too.
You know what I'm saying?
I was hell bent. 5
a.m. to 7 a.m. every single day. I did packets of research. Like, and I brought them to my counselor. I was like, look at what I found out. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was like, I've never seen somebody in 4 months complete 2 years of classes. Because I just wanted to get it done with, you know. I wanted to prove I'm a good person. I'm sober. And it still wasn't enough. And that's what hurt me the most. Like, why am I not good enough? What am I doing wrong?
You are good enough. Them people are stupid idiots.
I realized it's not me. I realized I am good enough because the last social worker, she saw I was a good mother. And she saw I was good. Like, it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was abusing my kids, she wouldn't have allowed me to be there. But she walked in my home. It's a clean, my house is clean as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I deep clean my house daily. I'm on my hands and knees scrubbing. Like, we have clean laundry, we have an entire room that's a pantry of food. Like, we have food for months. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, our home is good. You know, and we have lock boxes. My parents have lock boxes with 3 locks on each one full of medicine so kids can't get into it. And they're put up high, you know, like, we are a good home, you know, and I'm so glad. Oh, so glad she saw that. And it just saddens me that there are other people going through it.
There's other people going through it that can't advocate for themselves, and they don't have the means to do the things that we did. Like, I had the means to go to a whole nother city to visit my son because they had him in a different city than Little Rock. I had the means to, work a job, and my husband was working a job, and we were going to meetings, and I had all those. There's people
Not
that don't
everybody
have those
can.
means, and it's almost like they step in and they try to legally kidnap those children.
They do. They don't try to, they do.
You
They
know?
kidnap children and then they traffic them off to the highest bidder. Can't
I
change
saw
my mind,
that
and you
it's
won't change
really
my mind.
bad. I've noticed in Texas.
Oh yeah.
In Texas, it is really bad. I've
Well, you
seen
know
like
why?
three or four other girls who've had their children taken. One girl worked for CPS. I found her on TikTok. She was a CPS caseworker. One day, somebody called and made a false report on her, and they came to her door and they were like, "We need to see your daughter," or whatever. And she's like, "No, there's no reason for you to see my daughter." "Well, there was a report that you were abusing your daughter at Walmart. You were beating your daughter." "Okay, if that's true, then get the tapes." They couldn't provide anything. And she literally worked for them. She lost her job over it and everything, but she never, ever let them in her home or she got a lawyer and everything.
That's sick.
She's here on YouTube. I'm gonna have to find her channel and send it to you because y'all
Yeah, let
have
me
got to
know.
watch it. Like,
That's
it's
sick.
unbelievable, dude. And they
That's
were
sick.
just trying, since they already accused her, they weren't gonna backpedal. So they were just trying to like take her kid.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand, and I just cannot stand when people say CPS, they're good. CPS, they don't take kids. Yes, they do. Okay, maybe, like I said, maybe not your experiences. I'm not saying all CPS. That's not what
Right.
I'm saying. I'm saying in my, it happened to me.
Well, you got to think about it. We're giving human beings the power to break apart a family. That's corruption. That's power. Okay, think about that. No person should be able to have the power to take away your child.
Oh, I know. That shit gets me heated. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't like who they are, so I'm becoming one of them to infiltrate them and to get in there and be like, "Bitches, don't try me. I'm gonna infiltrate y'all and watch me. I'm gonna turn everyone against y'all. I'm gonna turn all your own workers against y'all and realize what y'all are doing. Trust me on that."
I love you, girl.
Once I graduate, they're gonna hate me. I'm telling you, because I don't play games.
Can I ask? Okay, I'm so glad you came on and shared with us tonight. Why didn't anybody tell me how amazing Euphoria was? Have you seen Euphoria?
No, the show. No, I want
Yes,
to.
girl. I'm watching it and I'm obsessed.
I want to though. What's it about?
Okay, so it's about kids that are in high school and they're trying to make it through like life. And the main character, which is Zendaya, she is addicted to oxys. She's addicted to drugs in general.
Oh.
And it just shows her going through life. I'm on the 3rd episode, and when I'm telling you, it is so freaking good, you guys. It might be a little triggering for people newly in recovery, but I love it.
I want to watch it. I've been wanting to. I just didn't know what it was. And I'm very picky with new shows. I don't like to waste my time.
It is really, really good. Oh, tonight comes on Dope Sick, you guys.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Don't forget about that.
All right. I'm going to head up off here because I need to go get my son. I don't even know what he's been doing out there. Okay. Thank you for having me on. And everybody, before I go, remember, you do not have to let CPS in your home unless they have a signed warrant by a judge. Okay?
Love you, girl.
Bye. Love you.
That's my friend Ashley. I hope y'all enjoyed that. She's very, very smart. Okay. How many of you guys do y'all watch Euphoria? Like, I'm literally obsessed with this show. Like, obsessed, you guys. Oh. Okay, what episode am I on? I think I'm on episode 3 now. Tonight comes Dope Sick, right, you guys? Hey, Brittany. Hey, Joe, what's up? Yes, you don't have to let them in your home legally. Straight up. Oh, no, that's not right. They have to have a court order from the judge to be able to come into your home, you guys. Okay? I don't want to see the movie. I want to see the episodes. Oh, gosh. There we go. Her third baby passed away sadly. Oh, that's so sad. Hey Joe, you can contact me on the 1-800 number going across the screen, okay? And I'll do the best I can to help you find resources. I can't guarantee anything because I'm not like, if you are in another state, I can help you try to find treatment in your state. But just reach out to me. I'll do the best I can. Okay. I'm not a magic worker though. I'm not a miracle worker though. I can do the best I can though. Okay. There you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed Ashley coming on. I really wanted y'all to hear that. Now let me show y'all my new comforter I got. Look. And I have the bed sheets and everything didn't come yet. So I'll have the new bed sheets, the new bed pillows, everything. So it's dark gray on this side and then light gray on the other side. And so I'm super excited. Like I said, you guys, I just now started. How old are your kids? My son is only 7. I just now started actually learning how to when I was in my active addiction, I didn't do any of this stuff. So this is all new. Yeah, sure. I love you, buddy. Hey, will you do me a favor? Let's pick up the trash and get your own room straightened back up. We were doing really good, remember? Come on. Come on. Nathaniel, come on. So it would have to be the police that could come in there, and it would have to be something really, really bad for them to come over there. But CPS, no. And honestly, you guys, you should always ask questions. Don't be like me. I just let people. I was very, very naive, and I did not know. But now, wax. No, you know what that was? Slime from your slime thing, because you left it on here, and I found it on there. So, do you want me to leave this beanbag over there, or you want that one? Okay. My son has his own room. No, it doesn't take text, Debbie. Just phone calls. My son's got his own little room. This is his room where he plays. He's got his own couch. He's got his own TV. Yeah, hold on just a second. His own TV, and then his bedroom is over here, and he's got his own bed, his own big bed right there with his Fortnite covers on it. So he's got it going on. Yes, you can show him your Minecraft thing. Did you pick up your trash like I asked you to? Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. You can do it. You can do better than that. Okay. Yeah, he's got it going on, y'all. He's got the life. He's got everything he could want and more. Go ahead. We're seeing Nate. He wants to show y'all his Minecraft house. Right, Nate? He's got this little dude right here in his room. Hold on, Brittany. I didn't see it, baby. Brittany. Her third baby. What happened, Brittany? I didn't see it, what you said. I just seen her third baby. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. No, it's not coming through, babe. I didn't see it. What did you say? Oh, my God. I love you, son. You know I wouldn't just ignore you. You know that, girl. You know that, girl. I'm right here, guys. I'll get you a piece of candy. Don't forget to smash that like button. Love you, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you, everybody that come out and hang out with us tonight. We're just hanging out, chilling. Look how big my schnoz is. Is that a big schnoz? Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Two of her kids have already been taken by the dads. This is the only thing that's showing up, Brittany. I didn't go live yesterday, God. I went live on TikTok yesterday, y'all. Okay, it must mean that something you're saying is being that it's picking it out. So whatever you're saying, abbreviate whatever you're saying. It could be a word that you're saying. Okay. What would you do if you knew someone? Do y'all love these? What would I do if I knew somebody that was using that had kids? Is that what? Oh. What would you do if you knew someone that's not off drugs and they're trying to get pregnant? God. If I were you and I knew somebody that was doing that, I would reach out to their family members and try to have them talk some sense into them. I would reach out to somebody that was in recovery like me that would be willing to talk to them and message them and try to talk some sense into them. You know, I know a lot of young girls that like think it's cool to get pregnant and have babies, and it's so much work to have a child. And once you realize that, then you don't just go around popping them out. You didn't miss nothing. I'm not deleting this one though. I had to delete the ones from the day before because I'm not going to put negativity on my channel, and I'm not going to allow people to get a rise out of me. And like a couple days ago, I let people get a rise out of me. Wow. Brittany, now this is so selfish. When you're somebody who's in active addiction, you've already had 2 kids taken from you, and you're still trying to have a kid. Like, that's just being selfish, and that's wrong. I would talk to that person, honestly. And in a situation like that, like, you can't really do anything until they get pregnant, you know? But if they're using and they get pregnant, they'll get found out. You know? I know a lot of people like that who they want to get pregnant for attention. Oh, hell no. That pisses me off. I would. Now, that's the kind of stuff that kids need to not be in that house for. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like giving your baby drugs. Like, what the F? Brittany, she sounds very immature and selfish. You know? If you want me to, I'll try to talk to her. Okay? Message me on Instagram or TikTok. Yep. So, what do you guys want to talk about tomorrow night for our live stream? I want y'all to pick the topic right now. So, everybody in the chat, what do y'all want to talk about tomorrow? Hey, Neil, you're going to watch Euphoria with me, and you're going to love it. Euphoria? It's amazing. I'll help her, or try to help her. Okay, girl. Yeah, you're right. Debbie, what do you want us to talk about tomorrow? So I know you guys seen the memberships. The memberships is the button right beside my name. It says join. I'm going to start doing member only live streams. Not all the time. Not all the time. Brian, that's a good one. Dealing with the holidays and no family. How about that? Okay. We're just going to talk about dealing with the holidays and family, period, because for people in recovery, that can be really, really difficult. How many of you guys want to go with me to my mother-in-law's house to eat turkey on Thursday? Yep, that's right, Debbie. Text that one. I'm going to be going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 Central here on YouTube. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah. I'll take you guys with me to eat turkey, okay? And maybe I can even con Neil into coming on and telling some story times with me, okay? Pause! Debbie, I'm making a whole video for you. I'm going to upload it tomorrow. Be on the lookout, okay? I love you guys. I'm going to go watch Euphoria with Neil. Tomorrow with Debbie, be on the lookout for an upload about pause. And then I'll see y'all tomorrow night at 7 Central. So from now on, our schedule will be Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 7 for YouTube, Tuesdays, Thursdays at 7 for TikTok. So we're going to go live on both platforms. So that way you guys can, if you can't find me there, you'll find me here. Okay. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 7 Central. Tomorrow there will be an upload about post-acute withdrawal, and there'll be an upload about when do you feel normal after being on benzos for a long time. Because I had a lot of people from the benzo groups on Facebook request that I talk about my experience healing from benzodiazepines. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Don't be depressed because you're going to come do turkey with me on Thursday. It'll be a great time. Okay. So everybody straighten out your crowns, king and queens. Put a smile on your face. I have the same number. It's 501-258-1833. Everybody knows it. You can call me anytime. If you send me, if you prank call me or send me mean messages, I'll just block you. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 Central.